Welcome back to the Blue Collar Trade Show, where real people share real stories about building, fixing, leading, and living with purpose. I'm Troy, and I'm here with the crew, Chad, Jim, Marissa. Each week we dig into lessons, have laughs, and hard-won wisdom from the folks who keep America running. Let's get into it. Okay, all right, welcome to the Blue Collar Trade Show, everybody. We are welcoming a really special guest today with Neil Glatt. So, Neil, thank you for coming to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Yay.
Very, very excited. Jim, you always miss that cue, right?
I know. I got to work on it.
Yep. So anyway, Neil, let's just start with just kind of give us a little bit of background about yourself. You have a strong sales background.
Yeah.
Jim and I, that's really all we've ever done is try to sell stuff to people, right?
Sure.
Or let people buy things, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I'm eager to just kick the tire on this, right?
Yeah.
So I have some questions for you, but give us the Neil Glatt story.
Well, we were just chatting briefly about where we live and where we're from. I grew up in California, and my sales career started with the Boy Scouts. I sold more popcorn for our annual fundraiser than anybody in the whole county. So much so that they gave me a college scholarship. Right. And I was like,
really?
I go, this is great. Right. So
let me stop you there for a second.
Right.
I have a
selling popcorn
with the Boy Scouts, because the Girl Scouts have it nailed.
The cookies.
Right?
Yeah. Nobody knows about Boy Scout popcorn.
Well, but people, so my kick on the Boy Scout popcorn, hey, you want to buy a bag of popcorn and it's $40.
Yeah, well, it's a good cause, man. You should be more generous. That's what I think.
I wasn't opposed to the price, but what I wanted was the popcorn.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
I had to order the popcorn and wait 6 months to get the popcorn.
Yes.
So what can we do about that, Neil?
Dude,
if we can solve that puzzle today, they should have popcorn with them.
If high school Neil knew Troy, then not only would you wait, it would come gift wrapped in cellophane. You would hand it out as Christmas gifts. You would have been happy to wait because it was such a great customer experience. But
and how is the popcorn?
Popcorn's phenomenal.
Oh, the popcorn's awesome, but it just took too long. I got so excited about the popcorn. I wanted to eat popcorn.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the Trails End company. They haven't tapped me for consulting yet, so maybe someday.
So let's see if we can get into that, because the Girl Scouts, hey, that looks pretty good, and you get to eat them in your car,
That's
right?
true.
So
yeah. Occasionally you'll find some Scouts. I don't know how they do it, but they do get popcorn that they sell at the grocery store from a table or something, but. Not me, man. I was door to door, and you'd had to sit and wait. And then my parents had to park their cars outside the garage because we sold so much. Like they brought the delivery truck to. I swear they brought the delivery truck to my house. Like,
so you went door to door and sold truckloads of popcorn?
Yeah, well, I mean, one at a time, and we lived on a hill, and I had to go huff it, but the sale would start. There's a calendar. You're not allowed to sell before a certain date, right? There's a campaign to this. Okay. And so the very first day was always a Saturday, and I would be out at literally 6:30 in the morning knocking on doors, and people, they're answering in their bathrobes. Like, what are you doing? And I knew some other jerk was going to be at the grocery store and get that sale if I didn't get out there fast enough. That's right. So first Saturday of the season, I probably knocked on 300 doors and went through the pitch and, hey man, this, popcorn's like back then, like $1. Why is yours $10? Like, it's a great cause. 70% goes to me and my troop, and it supports all these things. And dude, you're not buying popcorn, you're investing in future leadership. And turned out it's true. Like I lead a lot of people now. So thank you to all those homeowners and neighbors who bought that popcorn. So, but
it's all because of the Boy Scouts.
It's all because of the Boy Scouts. So, I loved sales from that moment, and that's all I wanted to do. I went to school. I got a 4-year degree in marketing, and I picked one up in Spanish while I was there as well. And I wanted to go into pharmaceutical sales, but it was 2009. So I couldn't get a job there or anywhere really. And I landed in the trades. I ended up working for a landscaper in Detroit. Okay. Yeah. I went to school.
So why pharmaceutical? I mean, what was what happened in pharmaceutical?
Nothing. We had a guest speaker, and it sounded sexy, and that was just the dream. So, but Eli Lilly wouldn't.
Drug sales.
Yeah. Eli Lilly wouldn't interview me, so I didn't get that job. So some small landscaper in Detroit hired me, and that was a start. It was something, and there wasn't a lot of other options. So I worked for him for a year, and they did landscaping and snow removal. And they were small, $1 million in revenue altogether. And the snow removal was really fun for me. I think it was novel.
Did you sell it or do it?
Yeah,
or
growing
both?
up in LA.
Yeah, so I sold it, but then I kind of like ran dispatch. I'm not like as skilled as a lot of the guys in this industry to do the trade, but I could sort of organize people, okay. So, but I was up all night and there was a whiteboard. We were calling each other, where are you at? What's done? What's not done? And it was adrenaline rush. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The landscaping was a little bit more of an art. And I'm not good at art. And so that was a little tough. And so I started to look around and found these guys in Boston, got introduced to them, and they only wanted to do snow removal, which is really a weird niche for a trade because it's so inconsistent. And I went to a trade show to meet my future boss. I interviewed at the show, and he made me a job offer on Sunday night. So I showed up to work the next day on Monday, and I was like, hey, man, Friday's my last day. And then Friday night, I packed 2 bags and I flew out to Massachusetts, and I moved into my boss's guest room in his house. And I worked there for 7 years. And in that 7 years, we went from a single pickup truck to more than $40 million in annual snow removal. It was good enough to be the 3rd largest in North America. And it was an absolute blast. So many things we can talk about. And for me, it was sales in the summer and operations in the winter. So when I ended up leaving Case, my title was Director of Operations. And we had 500 seasonal employees and 500 subcontractors and about 50 year-round people in a big building and hundreds of pieces of equipment. And it was awesome. And then for the last almost 10 years now, I've been working with trades companies one-on-one, helping them fix their sales problems. So sales has been the through line of my biography, and it's what I love most. But I love doing it with the trades because what I found, I landed in the trades by accident.
Yeah.
And what I found was most do. Yeah.
Right.
And what I found was this is such a cool place because we're actually creating something real, right? So I have friends in marketing or in corporate and it's all it's numbers. When I get to work with a company and we can move their sales from $1 million to 2 million or 5 million to 50 million, we're creating real jobs for real people who maybe can't get them elsewhere. And we're, doing some real craft that's essential for the rest of society to continue to function. And so I love that. And I'll never leave the trades as a result.
Yeah, it's interesting that you look at it that way, right? Because it's like, all right, so you move from $1 million, company doing snow removal to a $40 million company doing snow removal. And people think, well, that sounds nice. But what I think most people miss is that what that means is you added 100 new jobs.
Yeah, right.
I
was the 3rd guy on the team. There were 3 jobs when I moved out. Right. Then, we have all these hundreds of positions and the companies we support down the value chain too. So,
who I think might be even a better salesperson than you, Neil?
It's probably a lot of them.
Nope, just one guy.
Okay.
The guy that hired you at that snow removal where he's like,
kidding.
Hey, I got one truck. Hey, why don't you move out here and move into my basement for the next 7 years?
Yeah, man.
Right? That's a pretty good sales pitch. I don't know what happened in Detroit, but that's an interesting. I'm not.
And there's only going to be 3 of us, so it'll be fun.
Yeah. To that sense, I love entrepreneurship, but intrapreneurship is pretty good too, right? So for me, I had aspirations to build something. I had aspirations to make money. I had aspirations to exercise control. And that's, it was the opportunity to do those things more than the job. I mean, I want to say he convinced me to do it for, I know it was less than 40,000 a year. It might've been 30,000 a year back then. Right.
Me. He was awesome.
Yeah.
We should get him on the show.
And together we were really freaking good in sales situations. So that was fun. Right. That was really fun. Yeah.
It is interesting when you kind of you get hooked up with the right partner, the yin and the yang components, right? It's interesting where things can go for sure.
It's amazing. So, yeah.
So that went really well. You did sales in the summer and operations in the winter. Makes a lot of sense. I kind of was wondering, what'd you do for 10 and a half months?
We
But
golfed. We golfed a fair amount too. It was good.
Yeah.
So.
But what? All right. So that went well. Well, if you could do that again, what would you do different? What didn't go as well? I mean, sounds great, but I'm sure there were some things you're like, yeah, we could have done better.
I mean, we had lots of ups and downs, right? We were growing so fast that we had to create a whole new operating model every year. So I don't know that it didn't go well, but it was very stressful. And really just trying to keep it all together. And we can talk about really any of those 7 years. I think there's an inflection point. We can tell stories about what we learned from the hard way. But overall, there was one conversation we had about what do we want this company to be. Now, at the time, I was 23, Jay was like 33, and then we had the third guy was the CFO, Bill, who was older, right? And Bill had experience, and so he knew better than we did. And I was like, I want to see how much we can sell, right? Like, hey, there's this top 100 list that we used to be number 70 on. Let's see how high we can go. And he was like, whoa, slow down. Like there's other things to life besides just volume. And I had no concept of that. Plus I was on commission. So,
and he's not right. And he's
right.
Not,
yeah.
That's not right.
Well, so, I think that there's
Bill was old.
No, Bill's phenomenal. But he was like, we can have a really nice life at a certain size where we're comfortable and we have time with our families. And he got outvoted, right? But now looking back and for the last 10 years with my own practice, it's like, I can scale. I can bring on other coaches. I know what it's like to build that and manage it, but I also know what it's like to feel like you can't ever walk away from it. Right. And so I think when I left, he was like, dude, I thought this is what you wanted. And I said, yeah, that's what I thought too. And I did not enjoy it, but it is, having gone through it, it's like, well, scaling's not everything. Right. So what I think is there are tranches in every business within the trades, right? So depending on what trade you're looking at, it's like, hey, $1 million might be a terrible place to be because you've had to pay for a shop and an office manager, but you're not really making enough to cover that. You're just trying to get by every day. And when you get to 2 million, maybe you only add an admin person and things are really sweet, but then you go to 4 and now you're back in that really thin area again. And so there's these sweet spots depending on your trade and your volume where you want to sit. And I would say figure out which ones those are. And then, just try and understand or predict. It's hard if you've never done it for what the scale is going to look like at the next level, right?
Do you think most business owners know the number, know that? I mean, because you're right. There's plateaus, right? You get to that first million, and then some just get stuck there.
Yeah. I don't think they know it until they look back.
Until they look back. It's like, yeah, you're right, Jeff. Or Jim, sorry.
And some are, it's whether it's 3 million, 6 million, 10 million, 50 million, whatever, right? Yeah. So it depends on the exit. Do they, when they meet you, do they know, or do you kind of guide them? Because there's no guarantee in any of it, right? But
there's never a guarantee. Sometimes they know, in terms of, hey, I know I was making more when we were smaller and life kind of sucks today. Right, yeah. But when we start talking, they're pretty decided on the next level, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I talk with guys and they're like, hey, I want to do what you do, but do it in half the time. And I just press back. I'll help you if you want, but why is that so important to you? Right. And I just try and get them to pause a little bit and consider what they're really after, because like I said, I know what it's like. And, it's not objectively better per se, but, like I said, we love growth. That's what we exist to do, is help people grow and create more jobs. And, I just think sometimes you set up KPIs, right? And certainly top line revenue and profit are two of the most important. And you start chasing them, and sometimes you lose sight of why you're chasing them, right? And they just become a number to try and hit a high score on. And I think that's a little bit of a trap sometimes. Yeah.
Do you, so in your organization, So sales is kind of your sweet spot, but do you help them from top to bottom as a consultant, I assume? And where do you
Yes and no. So sales is all that we do, but I think a lot of problems that trades companies face are really sales problems, right? So when account managers can't keep accounts, that's a sales problem.
Yeah.
Right? Expectations weren't set up. The handoff wasn't done right. Hey, crews aren't profitable. A lot of operators will tell you it's because people don't work like we used to work when we were, that age or our grandparents' age.
You believe that's true? That comes up a lot.
No, that's not true. Right? I mean, maybe, but like you can fix it by estimating better or selling for more money. That's a sales problem. So, I don't know I don't know what the production rate should be. That's how we talk about it in landscaping and other trades. I'm sure it's other things, but every job is somebody going out and figuring out how long it's supposed to take, and then adding the materials and the markup and packaging it together. The owner's always the best, right? You're the fastest lawn cutter, you're the fastest plumber, you're the best, you're the smartest, but you're not hiring yourself. You're sending out more junior people. So
right.
If the price didn't accommodate that, that's a sales problem, not an operations problem or a work ethic problem. And so we end up solving a lot of them. I was just talking with someone yesterday. And he goes, the designers or the engineers who spec the project, they're called designers. They're not getting the right information from this person, and then the crew. It all starts with sales. And when you put out an estimate in your business, you are capping the profitability that you can earn on that job, right? There is a theoretical maximum to your profit. And then stuff happens and it may end up being on target or lower. And so if profit's an issue or on-time completion or warranty work, and it's causing problems for the business and causing problems in finance or cash flow, sales, man, right? If cash flow is a problem, which I know it is for a ton of trades, right? Negotiate a down payment or a deposit up front. That's a sales solution to a problem that the business is facing. So we'll take a business, we'll talk about these issues that are keeping the owner up at night or stopping them from doing what they love to do in life, financially or time-wise, and say, I'm fixing it over here, but I really think that sales is the tip of the spear and we can do a lot of good. So when I'm working with sales teams, which is what I'm hired to do with customers, it stays in sales, but I'm always keenly aware of the impact that we're having. Sure. And I'm not sure that sales and operations can ever get past the middle school dance phenomenon where the boys are on one wall and the girls on the other, right? They may never be best friends, but they don't have to hate each other and argue about every job. Which is what happens in most companies, I think.
So I don't know. So again, similar background. I've been selling something in my life since I was about 10 years old. And I think, and I preach it to every business I've owned and every person that's ever worked for me that, everybody is in sales in one way, shape, or form. And they just don't know it. So I have a couple different questions, right? So in a business, where does the sales start, right? So when they say, hey, I've got they're coming to you because they feel like something's broken. Most of the time in my view, they probably think it's broken way further down the chain than it really is.
Correct.
So how do you find the blind spots that they aren't seeing?
So, we use an assessment to do that. And this assessment actually saved my sales career. So I'll go back to my biography, a chapter I skipped in our brief intro. Okay. In the world of snow removal, a lot of contracts are on 3-year basis. People would sign up, they'd stick with a contractor for 3 years. So my first 2 years of cold calling companies and businesses, a lot of people told me, hey, Neil, we'd be happy to give you a shot in the future, but we're mid-contract right now. Call us back in a year or 2 or 3. So my 3rd year in Massachusetts, I'm thinking this is great. First of all, I'm now, the wise old age of 24. Yeah,
all that then.
totally.
So you know everything.
Exactly. But I'm not fully faking it the way I was when I first started, right? You remember your first sales job and you're like, you're totally faking it. I was past that. I kind of knew what I was talking about a little bit. And I had this pipeline of people who told me to call them back. So I'm walking in and I'm thinking, this is going to be my best sales year ever.
So great.
And then I just totally fell flat. I had my worst sales year in my entire career 3 years in, and I couldn't figure it out. So fortunately, one of the great things that my boss did, besides convince me to move out, was hire me a sales coach. And I worked with him, and then I didn't call him for a little bit. And I called him and I said, Kirk, it's been a while, but I need your help again. I just had my worst year ever. He goes, well, I haven't talked to you in a year. Let's get you assessed. So I took this test, and the test came back. It had 3 categories. It had what we call motivation or will to sell. It had what we call sales DNA, and it had sales tactics. And I scored pretty well in sales DNA and really strong in sales tactics because Kirk had taught me all of them. But I scored really weak in motivation. And specifically, this piece of paper said I didn't have strong, meaningful goals or a written plan to achieve them. And so I called Kirk and I said, hey, man, this assessment you sent me is kind of bunk, right? Like, and he goes, well, what's your objection to it? And I said, well, it says I don't have any goals, and that's not true. And he goes, well, what's your goal? I said, Kirk, I want to make $100,000 a year. And he goes, cool. Did you hit it last year? And I said, yeah, dude, I did. Again, 24 years old, hot shit. And he said, well, Neil, you're a moron because that was your goal. And now you need a new sales goal if you ever want to sell anything in your life. And it doesn't have to be more money. Okay. It can be the same level of income if that's what you're comfortable with. That's what you want to do. It could be more efficiency, more time away from work, better balance or integration, but you need a new set of goals that's going to push you. And I was like, okay, that maybe checks out. Reset goals, almost doubled the business. I think at the time we were close to 10, and then in the next 3 years we went to 40. So it was wild. And then when I started getting into sales coaching with other people, I was like, oh, I know enough about sales. And I'd walk into a team and an owner would tell me all kinds of stuff, and I'd start coaching people, and I would keep chasing symptoms. I would never really know what was going on. And it was very much trial and error. And I was wasting my time and their money guess and checking. Right.
Yeah.
And so finally I was like, I need that assessment I took. I called the company, I signed up, and now we use it. And the assessment's world class. It's been around for 30 years. And we use that to come in and diagnose everything. It's almost like an MRI level detail for sales report. And it makes so much sense because you would never show up with pain in your side to a doctor and they go, oh yeah, we'll probably just cut out your appendix and I'm sure that'll be good. Like, whoa, don't you want to do some imaging or blood testing or, get some data to support your decision here? And so that's how we operate is, well, of course, how could you, no matter how skilled I am, if I don't know what problem I'm solving, and this assessment report that I get comes back with a couple hundred individual findings. And so now when I get salespeople, we just start attacking the little things that are going to make them, exponentially better. And they recognize really quickly, like, oh, this guy's not just giving me the same spiel that every sales coach or influencer on TikTok or whatever is. And it's not that that's wrong. It's just maybe not the best course of action for them. Right. So,
That's awesome. I mean, that's what everybody needs, right? Is to see what they don't know or don't believe or right. And, but that's on the individual basis. How about on the business side, right? Because a salesperson, the owner is going to say, that person's closing rate sucks and their average ticket is below what I want. Yeah. Fix them. Right. But that's typically not the only problem the company has, right? Correct. It starts with marketing or call center or whatever. Right.
Exactly right. So, in we have the assessment includes sales managers and sales leaders and an evaluation of the systems and processes. And so, I mean, how many times have you gotten in with a company?
So you're peeling back the onion all the way.
We have to, right? And they go, hey, my salesperson's not performing, but I think they're good at sales. I mean, they at least they told me that they hit quota every year at the old company, right? And it's true. We see
They
really
close at 85%.
He hit his goal when he was 24.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not like they're so bad at hiring that they end up with total duds all the time, right? But then people don't succeed, and it's hey, your systems suck, right? There's no accountability. We help companies also assess candidates, so we've helped hire salespeople in some capacity. And I used to get the calls too. They go, "Hey Neil, this guy that you said was great isn't performing. I thought you said they were awesome." And sometimes the answer is, well, they were, but then you hired them and now they work for you, right? So you would never see you never see the greatest athletes skip practice. You never see them ignore coaching. I mean, you talk about the LeBron Jameses, the Tom Brady's, like they bring their own coaches in, right? And not just on field performance, but nutrition and sleep and you name it. They have their whole team of experts that they bring because they're obsessed with being the best. And everybody needs a coach. I have a sales coach, and Cassidy, who works for me, sees Kirk for sales coaching and not me, because I don't think your boss can be your coach, right? So this idea of coaching and process and systems, we dive in because we have to. And we can have amazing salespeople. They love to get out and hunt. They're not affected by rejection. They're personable and influential and all the things you want and motivated, but they don't know how to set up or implement a CRM if you don't have one. Or in the trades, the thing I run into all the time, you have these amazing softwares that power your business, and they keep track of your crews and your materials and your time, and they say we offer a CRM, but you're in sales, those CRMs don't have call tracking or email tracking or deal pipeline tracking to the level that you get out of a HubSpot or a Zoho or a Salesforce. Salespeople need that system, right? Yeah. But if they're just kind of like, oh, we have a trades company and we brought in this one guy and he's supposed to sell and he's not, well, yeah, man, nobody's helping him, right? So, and marketing's a component. Sales marketing is cover fire for salespeople, I like to say. So, yeah, it has to be in line. It has to be good. And I don't consult on that. I refer some of that to friends, but I always check out the KPIs. I want to know. And hey, you probably, by the way, if you hire me as a coach, you'll probably have to spend money on this software, or you should really consider changing, your vendor over here because they're not.
Do you have a favorite sales software that you recommend?
I do, but it depends on there's a few of them, right? So okay. HubSpot, I like because it looks kind of sexy, right? And it incorporates web marketing particularly well. So if you're in one of the trades where you're dealing with homeowners or residences and you're spending a lot of money on search marketing or tracking inbound leads and trying to create that, I think HubSpot's maybe the best at that. If you're in the B2B side, these property managers who are hiring a lot of the trades are not really searching. They kind of have a stack of business cards from people who have knocked on their door. Right. And so you don't need that functionality as much, in which case I like Zoho, kind of because I like to get in there and tinker with stuff. Zoho powers my business. And so,
there's lots of things.
It's easy to get in there and really kind of hack it apart, but it doesn't look pretty. You have to know what you're doing. And I've heard great things about Monday.com. I've never used it personally. If there's a lot of companies, and to the credit of the suppliers to the trades, they're starting to hear my point about their CRM modules sucking. There's a company called Go High Level, which makes a pretty nice CRM, but they offer it as a white label. And so some of these operations-based companies are actually built on Go High Level, and they do have good CRMs. And they all tend to be pretty vertical. Like the guys who do it really well in pest control have no interest in selling it to plumbers. I don't know why, but they own their thing. So I don't know what that means as a solution for your trade listening to this, right? Whichever one of these you're in, but they're out there. And there's companies that report, but there's none that I feel so great about as a one size fits all that I am a reseller or referrer for or anything like that. I work with whatever we got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So so being in sales, and most people brush, I think, as a group, most people like, oh, sales, that's nice, right?
Yeah.
And they're not that important to society. They're all, whatever,
Totally.
right? So
Yeah.
it's like, couldn't do anything else, so you got into sales.
100%.
Um, and I just laugh at them for a bunch of reasons, because most of the most of the most rich people in the world are in sales, right?
Yes.
So they make more money than most people. Um, but I'm a very big believer that most people that call themselves salespeople are not salespeople.
Right.
Most of them are clerks.
Yes.
But what do you think about that?
Number
Right.
takers.
So sales is a big thing, but there's not. I think it's a very small percentage of people that can actually sell.
Fully agree. And the reason why salespeople have a bad reputation is because there are so many terrible salespeople out there, right? Also, I believe the reason why some of the highest paid people in the world are in sales is because they have the opportunity to create the most value, right? So you get rewarded based on the value you create. Your technicians who are senior and amazing and can work solo and can upsell a customer, you pay more. Same with salespeople, the really great ones that create value. And by the way, for both people, for me, sales is not trying to influence a customer or swindle them out of money that they wouldn't spend. It's to solve a mutual problem that the business has and the customer has. And so I think that your personal philosophy when it comes to sales is important, and very few people in sales remember what that is. But I love solving. I'll sell anything, right? I will sell the resort that I go to with my wife. I will sell the phone that I have, right? It excites me.
Why I should have ice cream tonight?
Yeah,
right.
it solves a problem, right? And dude, Troy, I got to tell you about this place. It's so good, right? Like that's who I am at my core.
You
And
don't
so
even notice it.
I
You
get to
even
do
know.
that for work. Yeah, right. And so I have apologies to my landscape friends. I have a little robot that cuts my lawn at my house, right? And,
Nice.
And I've been trying to sell my friend the same robot for 2 years for his house. Every time we get together and we'll sit on the porch and have a cigar and the robot goes by, I go, bro, you got to get one of these. It's the great, that's, because it's such a, I spent 4 years waiting for the technology and finding this. That's who I am, right? And so I want my friends to enjoy that problem solving too. But also, when I have a problem, when I need my house power washed, I don't Google search. I ask my friends who I trust. Who is your house, right? And so the referral and the relationship and the network that we kind of cultivate, I think salespeople can do that really well if you pay attention to it too. So.
What do you think is the number one thing when you sit down? I think I know what it is for me when I talk to salespeople. Well, what do you think the number one problem, issue, whatever you want to call it, that salespeople just don't? What do they miss? What's the number one thing that you notice that you could almost any time that anybody's struggling in sales? What's the number one thing they're guilty of?
It's between their ears. It's some belief that they have about.
I was going to say they don't listen.
Yeah.
They're too busy talking instead of listening.
Yeah. We assess for, I think, roughly 60 individual self-limiting beliefs. But one of the most common ones is I have to educate my prospect before they can buy from me. And the trades are bad at this because they'll send their salespeople to technician school or vendor school, and they'll come back with all this stuff. And it's like, man, if I actually cared how my HVAC unit worked, I wouldn't need you to come do it for me, right? But
they can't wait to puke a brochure on their head.
Yeah, you give them all the brochures and they just can't wait to talk you through it and prove how smart they are because, they're more concerned about getting their ego met than their bank account filled. And I think that it's always something like that. I was working with a kid who was selling overseeding and aeration, right? So If you don't know, you go through your lawn needs air to thrive, and it needs food, so compost, manure, and it needs seed when it gets thin. And this particular company figured out that if they didn't aerate and overseed and compost and do all three, then homeowners just weren't really getting a good lawn, right? And of course you have to water it after. And so in their high-end residential market for these larger, kind of estate homes, that means that the minimum job was $5,000, which is, not nothing depending on who you are. This kid was young.
It's nothing to Jim, but some people it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Jim,
They're mortals.
You probably do it twice, right? A year.
Just to make sure.
He has a robot do it.
Yeah. So this kid grew up, in a lower middle class home and still lived in his parents' basement. And was a great kid and hardworking kid, wanted to succeed, but he just couldn't get over the fact that $5,000 was so much money for some poop and seed. And we're just ripping people off. And when I was coaching him, or trying to coach him, instead of figuring out ways to be more effective with customers, to listen better, to position better, to follow up better, it was all him trying to convince me that this pricing was way too much. Right.
Yeah.
And it's not his fault, man. It's his parents' fault, I guess. Right. For that.
No, it's his fault. Yeah.
It's that limited worldview, but I can't change that as a coach. I can't convince someone and you know what? When I moved to Massachusetts and I was living in my boss's, I would never spend that. I still don't spend that. Right. It is a lot of money, but you can't dictate what your customer's budget can be for something.
Right. Yeah. You're right. And I think that's, hey, Jim's right too. Asking questions and then actually letting them answer it, right? Is, they'll tell you everything if you let them talk. And most of the time it's that percentage. Nobody wants to be sold anything, but just tell, let me say yes or no, right? Give me my options. But they get in their own way. It's like, well, I wouldn't do that. Well, nobody's asking what you would do, right? It's like when we go out to a restaurant and my wife always asks the waiter, what do you recommend?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you know that you will have any interest in what that person likes to eat?
Right.
Right.
I want to say the Ritz-Carlton was famous for this. Maybe they're famous for a lot of great things that they do with their people, but you have to get your people exposed to really great customer service to know how to deliver it.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I think that's a problem, right? You want to try and build a world-class organization. You don't know what good, your people don't know what great looks like. And so sometimes you have to spoil them a little bit, get them to see and perceive what is really going well, that people continue to show up to wherever and spend this money, or, look at that company. And it doesn't have to be in your market, it can be anywhere, but man, this company just seems to have like really raving fans. Why? Right. What pops in my head is Chewy.com, the pet supply company.
Yeah.
People love Chewy, right?
Yeah.
And like I'm a Jeff Bezos guy. I have an Amazon Prime subscription and they bring everything to my house. So my wife got a service dog a couple months ago. She's paralyzed from the chest down. So this dog's helping us out around the house and with her, which is awesome. And so now we're contending for the first time in our adult life or in the world of Chewy.com to buy pet supplies. And of course I'm like, why would I change? Right. It's Amazon. They bring everything I need to my house, including the dog toys. But everybody who I know is like, oh, you got to get on Chewy. Like it's this hot new cult. And the prices are like the same. So why would I want another login and supplier in my life? But then you get sucked in somehow because they have something special and they start writing you handwritten cards. And I've heard from friends whose pets pass away that they send flowers, or, the food goes on auto delivery. So sometimes the food shows up after the pet died and it's really traumatic. They have a whole playbook for how to apologize and coach them to refund and coach them to donate it and make a donation on their pet's name. Like raving fans, because pets are more important than kids sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Study that stuff, right? It's out there. And there's no reason that Chewy.com should even exist in a world dominated by Amazon, but they do.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw a commercial
and they do very, very well.
They do very, very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And PetSmart's response to Chewy.com is,
Yeah.
what about us?
Right.
I saw a commercial like, you used to like us. What happened? Right. So
Well, yeah. Well, it's funny. It's kind of like with Kodak, and when digital cameras started coming out, and Kodak said, "Oh, that'll never fly,"
Yeah.
so they never got involved in it,
Yeah.
and they almost went bankrupt
Yeah.
because they were still relying on people buying SLR cameras and film and
Yeah.
getting it
Radio
developed.
Shack.
And
Totally.
yeah,
Totally.
right.
So
Yep.
we try and observe what works well, and we're trying to integrate it. And, we're really, really, really keen on AI right now to not replace salespeople, but to help salespeople do better at all the things that we haven't been doing well of, right? So in my company, AI powers birthday cards and anniversary cards and all kinds of connection points with customers that I personally don't really care about. For a lot of years, I was just like, that's fine. It's not for me. But now we do it all, and it's
you don't care about people's birthdays and
Is that what you? Yeah,
anniversaries?
that's
Is
what
that
I've
you're
heard.
correct.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not a birthday guy. I don't want a birthday party. Even my friends, I don't know their
You
birthdays.
just never had a good one then. All right.
I guess,
okay.
yeah. And I'm in the minority, right? Like, man, it feels like it's been a while, so it's normal now. But
So that's a typical salesperson. You don't like that much attention on yourself.
I
That's
guess,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Every millennial started taking their birthday off of work, and that was weird 10 years ago, but now it's normal, right? So I was like, that's weird and stupid. I just never got on board. Now AI has given me a way to do it without taking any brain power. So it's amazing. And we have a module for pets in our CRM. So this is Chewy is top of mind because we're like, hey, can we copy that? Can we give people gifts for their dogs at work? And a lot of people would say, well, why? It has nothing to do with what you do. Because our best referral partners are not customers. They're people who just like us. And Cassidy, who works for me, last night, 9:00 at night, sent a picture of her dog playing with a toy, which is a toy that's made for horses, because a friend who knows people has horses and recommended a horse toy because her dog's a menace and will chew a toy in 24 hours, right? So
I didn't know horses had toys, to be honest with you.
yeah,
So
I didn't either.
And the client responded at 9:00, and I say client, they run conferences, but they're influential and they can. And it's just like, man, this is a real friendship that we've built, and it's great hanging out with your friends, especially when they help you with your business, right? So this isn't new, but the technology's allowed us to do things we never used to be able to do.
I always go back to, we had a back in previous life that Troy and I had, one of the companies that worked with us, he had an incredible retention success rate for employees.
Yes.
His employees never left, right? And he built a very large company. And he was talking one time about what he did to keep employees engaged in that. And one of the things he did was on the Val packs. Remember those Val packs?
Yep.
He put on, every time a Val pack went out, it would have one of his technicians and their family's picture.
Mm-hmm.
And it would say, I like this company. I like working for this company because of this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he would have guys that would have a bad day and they'd get home and they'd, complain to their wives and I'm going to quit. And the wife said, no, you're not. Because I'm on Valpak, I'm on Valpak next week or whatever. And he said it was just the families were so involved.
Yeah.
He never lost an employee because the family said, no, you're not.
Yep.
You're going to work. Right. Kind of crazy.
Great mentor that I had told me, Neil, you should really write thank you notes. I was like, yeah, everybody says that. And he goes, no. You need to write thank you notes to the spouses and children of your people for working so hard. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that is next level, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
And in fact, I've taken his advice. I'm putting together right after this a care package for my client's wife who I've never met. I had to go internet stalk her name, but he mentioned, he called me, missed his call. I called him back and I said, Mick, I'm not catching you at a bad time, am I? He said, well, I'm in line at a pharmacy Mind if I call you back in 10 minutes? Sure. Calls me back. I go, hey, man, everything okay? Like you said, you're at a pharmacy, right? Tells me the whole story. His wife had an emergency appendectomy 2 nights ago. She's fine, thank God. But now we're putting together a whole care package for her because he's like, she likes to be taken care of when she's sick, and I'm not the best caregiver. So it's going to be real, tongue in cheek about we're going to try and help Mick take care of you through this. And I've got a 2-year-old, so it's a real life event, but it's going to be that super impactful thing that shows up. There's nothing I could give this guy. He's a successful business owner. What am I going to gift him that's going to move the needle? Nothing.
Where do you draw the line? Oh, so
no line. No line.
Well, so every time they have a hangnail, you send them a gift, or I'm just kidding, but not quite gift worthy scenario.
There
right?
are rules around it, and I will tell you. Consider having Cassidy, who works for me, on a future episode, and she can tell you everything because she's the master gift giver.
Really?
Yeah. That's her whole job is client success. Gift giving and relationship building. And it's a sales job. She gets commission, but she does it entirely relationally. There's a science behind it, an art to it. We have studied it. We have coaches for it. It's been our entire go-to-market strategy for the last year. And it is the most fun I've had in my entire life in business. So Cassie's, but there are some quick rules. So we don't gift when it's expected. So we never give gifts on birthdays or anniversaries. We recognize them, but we don't give gifts. We do not gift.
Except for you. Do they recognize yours, or do you make them ignore it? Just
So when I built the CRM, of course I'm testing the workflows. Yeah. So my information's there. So Cassidy is sending me, she sent me a month ago for our anniversary, an anniversary card. And yeah, like not only did I build the workflow, and of course know when my anniversary is, and built the GPT robot that creates the virtual card, and know that she just plugged in my info to ChatGPT and then sent this email. But it came across and it did kind of hit. And I was like, oh, I get why people rave about this. Right. And then of course I had to forward it. What am I going to not forward it to my wife? And then she's
right. Yeah.
This is so cool. How did Cassidy do that? Well, Cassidy just did what I told her to do, but she's great at it. Right. And so she gets all the credit and she builds that reputation. And I mean, dude, we're doing this in the trades, right? So I get guys, tough guys, they will let me know. I've never had anybody recognize this the way that you just did. Like it's a email. It's amazing. It's been incredible.
We used to, so I was co-owner of a big company, or it was small and we made it pretty big, but we built it very much the same. It's very small area. So we didn't have a lot. So we had to really focus in on getting customers and keeping them. Right. Yeah. And that's harder.
So hard.
But one of the things, so as a salesperson out there, so this is HVAC and plumbing, that sort of thing. So, but primarily sitting in the kitchen, with homeowners who are, buying air conditioning equipment or whatever. And they had children, right? A lot of times they had children. So what I made these, coloring books, right? Just kind of semi-branded, made them, and it had little 4-packs of color, crayons or whatever. And if they had a little kid there, just so I could get a few minutes of time with the parents,
so smart,
right? Primarily, was, hey, can you color me a couple of these pictures? And here's the crayons, and then they go run off and color, right?
Yeah.
But what we did is when I asked the kids when they got done, let me see, and they're so excited to show, right? And the parents like it because it's, but what I asked them is, can I take one of these? And we have in the office, we had this big giant wall where we would stick the kid's picture up on the wall, right? With their name on it. And so it'd be hundreds of pictures of colored. And we would take a picture of it and then I would send a card, a $2 or $3 card from Dairy Queen to the kid in the mail with a picture of their picture on the wall, right? So it wasn't addressed to didn't mention anything except to the kid. And, but that's what people never talked about the $20,000 air conditioner they bought. Right. They talked about the $2 crayon thing, right? So,
so if I Cassidy is the ultimate gift giver here. Frequently, when she sends a gift, a client posts about it on social media. That's how good her gifts are. I'm okay at it. I'm learning from her to give better
I'm
gifts.
horrible at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the single best gift I've ever received or given, in the past year was a set of baseball cards to a client's 11-year-old kid. Now, I'd never met this kid. We had breakfast at a conference, and it's a family business. Only Sarah was there, and she I was curious, and she was telling me that her husband was taking her son to a baseball tournament and tell me about baseball. Who's he like? Oh, he likes the Padres. Oh, dude, all the kids love Tatis, of course. And as a Dodger fan, it killed me, but I came home, right?
Well, you do have the best baseball player ever, so
yes,
that's you'll be okay. You'll be okay.
And so I came back, and of course, I wanted to send a gift because that's what we try to do. So for Sarah, it was a business book that I thought would really be nice, because in a presentation she talked about her company library, and this seemed like it was missing, and so that was a nice fit. But also in the package was something to link it. Now here's the key. She mentioned to me, I don't know why, but she mentioned to me that they had really been trying to teach their kid the importance of thank you notes. So there was a note to her, but also a note to him. And it just said, so sorry you weren't able to come. Hope you did awesome in your tournament. Heard you're a fan. Kills me a little bit because we're Dodger fans. But I sent some cards. And so the photos I get of this kid opening these cards, right? I mean, it's awesome. It's the greatest thing.
Awesome.
And have you ever met someone really, really generous who's not happy in life?
I don't think so.
I don't think so,
It's
man.
hard.
It's something magical there. And I'm telling you, I was sitting with a mentor and telling him about giftology and Cassidy and all this money.
Sometimes they're broke.
Sometimes they're broke.
Still broke.
Yeah, that was his question. He goes, I'm so curious. Is it working for your business? I go, I'm not sure. What I can tell you is, because it's not transactional, right? So it's not like a marketing campaign. That's the key. We never ever send anything and expect something back. And
right.
I can tell you, I've never spent more money on Etsy or gifting or postage. And I've also never had more revenue. So are they related? I don't know, man, but I am so happy in life on all fronts that I'm not willing to change it. I'm trying to do more of it. And I think that there is an idea behind this that's it does bring riches, but it's not in order to, right? So
the trick is, so earlier this year, and it's not a new thing, and I've done this multiple times, but I like simple reads and I like easy concepts to get my head around, right? And there's a book that was written a long time ago called Raving Fans.
Yes, great book.
And so I bought a copy for everybody on the team and asked them to read it, and we kind of went through it together and just kind of talked about it, and are kind of just together trying to build out some of that raving fan component of running a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So but one of the things that you kind of highlighted here is that I was thinking about, but we haven't really articulated it very well yet, is it's easy to think about how to make a raving fan base for your customers. And that's what the book is really about, right?
Yes.
But what you're kind of talking about is how you build a raving fan base within your own company culture.
Right. The employees. Right?
Yeah. So I think what you should do is you should get Cassidy one of those robot lawnmowers, right? Not on her birthday, maybe like Flag Day or something. 100%. Right? Yeah, Arbor Day.
So I'll tell you what's better. The night of the Super Bowl, 9 p.m., Cassidy's mom is texting me thank you notes because of the gift I gave to her. So I'm very fortunate. Cassidy is young. She just graduated college. She still lives at home. And so this is a world of benefit for Neil, right? I have no office expense. I have no health insurance requirements. Her parents have enabled me to really scale very nicely and affordably. And so I recognize that. And I also recognize that more than anything I can do with hiring her a coach, who she is a result of her parents' child rearing, right? So I sent her parents a custom $150 cutting board that's made by my favorite charity locally in a vocational training program. They run a wood shop, and custom, their name, no, never company branding, and just a heartfelt note that thank you so much for enabling me to grow my business, for trusting me with your daughter's career and future, realizing that every character trait that she shows up with that makes us successful is because you instilled it in her. You did an amazing job. Thank you so much.
Wow.
And
It's hard to get mad about something like that.
yeah, I mean, Cassidy gets nice gifts too, right, for her dog and stuff. But yeah, we would try and
From Chewy or from Amazon?
I did break down. I had to get it from Chewy because Amazon didn't have it, But again, sometimes the best value is I introduced her to Megan, who has horse farm, because the Troy I sent her got destroyed in 5 minutes, right? So I'm not the best gift giver, but sometimes the value is not the gift. Sometimes it's the intro. Sometimes it's the book. And so lots of ways to add value that we try and do. But I'm obsessed with it, man. When I hired Cassidy, I told her, she's young, she's all over the place. I go, look, I'd love to invest in you.
All over the place, so it's okay.
Yeah. love to invest in you, Cassidy. No matter how great you do, I don't get positive ROI from investing in you if you don't stick it out here 2 years, at least, right? So if you're going to take this job, I need you to commit to 2 years. It's up to me every day to make it good enough that you don't want to leave before then, right? And I take that seriously. Cassidy invests in relationships and takes care of clients, and my job is to take care of her. So that's kind of how that works over here anyway.
I got something that you could send her a note and say within 3 to 6 months you'll get a bag of popcorn from the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, I don't. She's kind of a health nut. I don't know if she. So it's funny, right? Talk about good gifts and bad gifts. I had a sales person I was coaching who lives in Austin, like you, but her company's based in Chicago, and she was performing, but then she was a little upset around Christmas. I was like, what's going on? And she goes, do you know what they sent me for a Christmas gift as a company? I'm like, no. And she goes, freaking popcorn. I was like, oh yeah, Chicago has like that, caramel corn and cheese corn and whatever. I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That's expensive stuff. It's a nice gift. I like popcorn, right? And she said, Neil, I'm vegan, right? I can't eat any of this stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that's the worst gift in the world for you as a vegan, right?
Vegans can't eat popcorn?
Not caramel and cheese popcorn.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So it's like, tell me you don't know me. Tell me you don't care about me. Tell me that this is just a checkbox in any other way, right? And I think company swag fits in that bucket a lot of times too. Stuff with your brand. So we don't do branded stuff.
Jim bought that on his own. I don't even know where he got it.
I had to actually. I hand wrote it.
Well, it's
white marker.
Company uniforms are important, but that's not a gift to the employee, right? That's all. So.
It was for Jim. It was his birthday.
Okay. Breaking all the rules in one fell swoop there.
No, I'm just kidding.
And I'll tell you, it's probably the one birthday gift I truly love.
Yeah.
Jim's secret to success, if you ever have him over to his house to get your pets to like him, is he stuffs his pants with bacon.
It's a good trick.
Like, oh, no one ever liked my dog doesn't like anybody, but really likes Jim.
Is that your sales call? I mean, you sold to homeowners. That's the way to do it, right? Like,
let me tell you, you get the pet to like you, they'll love you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he never likes anybody. All right, Jim, go ahead. One more question for Neil.
Well, Neil, we have a question that we ask all of our guests, and so I'm going to throw it at you.
Perfect.
What is your favorite tool?
Tool, like physical tool or technology tool?
Mine are. I love channel locks.
Okay.
So,
you're like naked and afraid, bring it to the beach.
I feel like this is so basic, but it's my digital calendar, man. My digital calendar. Really? Yeah. Of every piece of technology, it's the one that I don't even pay for, right? That's what's crazy about it. But my digital calendar is the key to my success. And by the way, time zones are my kryptonite because they don't work within my calendar ecosystem that way. Right.
Yeah.
But my calendar serves as my prioritization, my to-do list, my reminders. I'm a guy who is best when I'm closely managed, but when you own the company, nobody closely manages you. And my calendar allows me to do that. So it's gotten better, right?
I'll bet you probably were one of those daytimer guys, huh?
I'm a little offended you think I'm that old, but yeah, we used to, right? It was just where you spend your time dictates your results and conveys your priorities, I think. So it's
very cool.
It's underrated, but man, is it and now with virtual meetings, with integrations, with note taking, it's not quite a CRM, but it's damn close. So that's my favorite tool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What's the one thing? So my last question for you is, so as a sales professional and you've met every walking possibility of a salesperson, what's the one piece of advice that you could give the true professional who wants to take it to the next level that works for anybody?
Yeah. I think it's figure out what makes you uniquely great at sales, whether it's relational, hunter, drive, whatever that one thing that you're really great at, and do that every day. And don't listen to guys like me when we tell you this is what made me successful. Keep doing what makes you successful.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
Very
all
cool.
right. So lastly, so Neil, give us one last pitch for your business or whatever else you want to share.
Oh, sure. I think we're exactly the perfect fit for just a couple people. And if you think you might be one of them, we're easy to find. My name is Neil, Neal, Glatt, Glatt. NeilGlatt.com is the website. We're on LinkedIn. Feel free to follow along for daily social media tips and tricks. We'd love to do that. If you are interested and you reach out, I'd love to chat with you. We'll sit down for about an hour. It will end either with us agreeing that we give you a proposal, or I'll give you a referral for someone who can solve your problem better than I can. So no pressure if you want to. Otherwise, share this with someone else who you think might get benefit out of it.
There you go. Very interesting.
Hey, this was really great, Neil. I appreciate this.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
All right. So hang on one second, but thank you for coming on the show. Jim, ready? 1, 2, 3. Thanks, Neil. Yay. All right. See, you got it much better this time. All right. Thank you, sir. We'll be looking forward to next time. And let's get Cassidy on the show.
Definitely book Cassidy.
That'd be a lot of fun.
She would love to.
There you go.
Yes.
You guys come together.
Awesome.
All right.